good news can often get overlooked or buried by the negative in our everyday lives. So let's change that. I'm Adriana.
And I'm Wyatt.
We're just two ordinary people without any special qualifications or anything, trying to navigate life. We invite you to join us as we share wholesome stories, news articles of hope, and ideas about how we can all make the world just a little bit brighter. We are uplifting positive stories. Welcome back to another episode of Uplifting Positive Stories. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Hope everyone's had a good March so far. I think we're approaching April now. As we record this in the end of January.
Which is why we have our April Fool's episode, because we're about a week away from April Fool's Day.
We're here for some tomfoolery.
Yeah, some tomfoolery, some funny pranks, and
some actual pranks.
Hopefully it will make your day. Just having some funny stories in here, some sweet stories, and we got some Easter stories in here too, because Easter's coming up pretty soon too for those that celebrate. So got some fun stories all around. It'll be a good episode, I think.
Good time.
Good time. Hopefully these make you smile. All right, our first story here comes from the subreddit Benign Existence, and it is titled, "Today, my kiddo and I pulled off a prank 5 years in the making against my wife."
5-year prank?
5-year prank.
That is commitment.
Yeah, right?
Especially with a kid? In combination with the kid?
Yeah.
That's like a lifetime for a child.
I know, right?
So,
exactly.
Quite literally.
So this is, I think, a dad and his daughter, it sounds like.
Oh, daughter. Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is funny. All right. The story will make you chuckle. 5 years ago, on her 13th birthday, we were chatting about what she wanted to do on her major milestone birthdays. We decided that on her 18th, we would play a prank on her mother. That was tonight. We went out with family and friends, and after the main meal, I announced that I wanted to buy my newly adult child their first alcoholic drink. So they must be in a country where it's 18 is the legal age.
Well, I think even some states, if you're at home or whatever, like in the U.S. even, you can have alcohol.
Yo.
But it's got to be in the house, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
But it very well, probably in another country.
Yep. So cool, my daughter said, "I'll have a whiskey." Cue the looks of disbelief from everyone at the table. My wife said, "Well, that's hardcore." And my mother tried desperately to convince her grandchild of a better option. Kiddo remained steadfast. And I put on my best, "this will be a good lesson to learn" face, and I asked if anyone else wanted a shot. No one did, but everyone got on their phones to record the event. I had informed the server of our plans ahead of time, and she brought over 2 shot glasses. One with Angel's Envy that she put in front of me, and one with apple juice that she placed in front of Miss 18. We both downed our shots and looked around at everyone to see their reaction. My parents, sitting opposite, were preparing to leap out of the way of a spray. My wife's expression went from worry to confusion to suspicion quite quickly. Neither of us are pranksters, so we couldn't keep our laughter in for long, and we quickly spilled the beans, but the facial expressions of everyone at the table were brilliant. My mother, in particular, had a wonderfully expressive reaction. All in all, it was a pretty trivial prank, but the best bit was that all through her troubled teenage years, we've always been able to bring a smile to each other's face by reminding each other of the conspiracy. It's something that was shared between just the two of us, something so simple, yet something so wonderfully binding. Kind of a sweet, funny little story. Little, like, plan.
I was a little nervous that I was like, oh, they've actually been, like, getting her used to whiskey for years.
No.
I'll just say I feel this is that'd be one of those stories where it's like, I got a funny story here, and like, I think you committed a crime, and you're going to jail, and you're going to jail.
This is actually bad. No, but that's funny to get the server in on the jokes, and that it was all planned out. I think it's funny.
Well, yeah, because the server is, I guess if they're 18, it's legal. That doesn't matter. Never mind.
I just thought it was a cute little story, a funny way to start it off. Here we go. All right. Next one here comes from the subreddit Tumblr, and it is titled Wholesome Prank. So this one should have been a screenshot from Tumblr. Here we go. I think the most wholesome prank I ever pulled was with a friend who had a Polaroid camera, and we were out one evening walking around the neighborhood, and this one neighbor had a garden gnome, and we kidnapped him for the evening and took a bunch of Polaroids of his wild night out. Gnome on the swing set, gnome climbing a tree, gnome laying down next to an empty bottle of vodka, gnome just causing an absolute ruckus. And then we took all the pictures and put them in a little see-through food storage bag to keep them dry, and put them under the gnome, who we left on the doorstep of the house that we got him from. Anyway, a few nights later, we walked past again and wondered if the photos had been found and what the person must have thought. And then we saw the gnome in pride of place, balanced on the window ledge, and stuck to the inside of the window behind him were the Polaroids with a sign saying, "The boy on tour."
What the hell?
I think that's really funny.
So did they know this person?
No.
Oh gosh, that's bold. That's a bold move.
It was in their neighbor. It was one of their. I guess it was one of their neighbors, so they maybe knew him. But
good thing they were light spirited, you know, and fun.
I mean, they put it back, so
Yeah.
like it's not. I mean, they didn't even know it was gone for the night. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a. That's the great thing is like there's so many. And we've seen lots of episodes of this on like on Smosh Reddit stories and stuff like that of like pranks that are like that's not really a prank, that's just being plain mean.
That's just abuse,
or that's just a crime. You know, like there's a lot of that out there. It's like that's not a good prank to pull.
It's a prank if the person you are pranking also finds it funny.
Exactly. And so it's fun to kind of look at these and find actually wholesome pranks or pranks that are so like nothing was harmed in that. The gnome was put back. It's just a funny little prank. Like there's nothing that would make someone mad about that, you know? Like it was harmless. It was just fun. And so I think it's fun to see examples of that because pranks are sometimes often used as like a negative thing, where it's only funny for the person doing it, but these are examples where it's funny for both, which is great.
Remember when you tried April Fool's pranking me when I was driving back from a martial arts seminar with others in the car, and even the person that I was riding with was confused by your texts?
I was saying I got like a $500 parking ticket for going 15.
Or speeding ticket.
Speeding ticket for going 15 miles an hour in a 10-mile-an-hour zone in a parking lot.
All I know is that like because I had my friend, the person I was traveling with, doing the texting because I was driving, and then he was like, but then he said April Fools, and we both assumed that it meant like the police officer was doing an April Fool's joke, and that's how it read to us.
To be fair, my mom was with me and we were coming up with this together. We weren't the best at that. We were just trying to be funny. I don't know. It didn't work.
We were just confused.
We just confused you guys.
I feel validated that it wasn't just me that was confused,
like,
you know?
Wait, what's going on? Well, I didn't know there was another person that was like...
Well, I was driving.
I know, I didn't know.
You didn't think it was suspicious that I was responding?
I didn't know you were driving at that point. It's funny. Oh, boy. All right, on to our next one here. This one comes from the subreddit Marriage. And it is titled, "What is the best, wholesome, and harmless prank you've ever played on your spouse?" Here we go. This is funny. My husband has a sweet tooth and loves Lucky Charms. One time, I bought a box and I opened it from the bottom. I opened up the bag from the bottom and I emptied it into a bowl. I then took out all of the marshmallows and put the cereal back in the bag and then sealed up the bag and glued the bottom of the box closed. I set it on the counter, knowing that he'd dig into it as soon as he got home. The look of confusion on his face when he poured a bowl and there were no marshmallows in it was just perfect. I love that. That's so funny. And someone in the comments was like, "Did you ever give him back the marshmallows?" She's like, "Of course. I had a Ziploc bag of all the marshmallows that I gave him to afterwards." But I think that's really funny.
I think it'd be funny if there was a second box and I tried a different box and that one was just marshmallows.
That'd be a lot. Oh my word. That's a lot of commitment though, to pull all the marshmallows out of it.
That's true.
That's a lot of commitment that this person did for this prank, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. All right. Another person wrote, this is kind of funny. I convinced her that the latch for the glove compartment in my new car was an emergency passenger side horn. She pressed it and the horn honked. She was impressed. It took 2 more presses for her to notice that my thumb was on the actual car horn. I think that's really funny too.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, that's pretty funny.
I need to think of, it's not really a prank, but I like seeing those reels that talk about it, like growing up. I don't know if it's still like the case with parents that like our parents acted like having the light on inside the car while you're driving was like the most dangerous and illegal thing you could ever do.
We'll go to jail.
And now like all of us being adults are like, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's real. Because I've never heard of a single accident happening because of it or someone getting like arrested for it or whatever.
Yeah,
maybe it actually is, but like the level of like, it's
everyone
almost like a prank, a
yeah.
collective prank of like our parents were like, oh, like this is the most dangerous thing you could possibly do is have this light on while we are driving.
It's so funny. Oh my word. All right, next one here. This one comes from the subreddit Wholesome Pranks. And it is titled, "Used Uber Eats to pull a prank on my husband." My husband signed into his Uber Eats on my phone a long time ago. Because of this, I get notifications when he orders food to work. Every time he'd order lunch, I could see what food that he'd ordered. This gave me an idea. If he'd order from Chipotle, I would text him something like, I'm really craving a burrito right now. Or if he ordered a salad, I would text home, I could really go for a salad today. And so on. It went on for so long, family and friends started to get in on it. Every time I would text him telling him I was craving what he got, he was mind blown. He would answer back, oh my gosh, I just ordered Chipotle. Or we're thinking so alike today. I did this for almost a year before he finally caught on.
Gosh.
It truly would crack me up every time it happened, and he was a great sport about it.
Oh my.
I love it.
Well, if he really wanted to look into it, he could figure it out.
I know,
so.
that's so funny. Oh my gosh, you won't believe this. I ordered Chipotle today. I think that's so funny. It's again simple, harmless, but funny.
Yep.
I just like it. It's just fun to read these funny stories and get a little laugh sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Another one from subreddit Ask Reddit. What are some simple but effective office pranks? Someone wrote, I once changed the autocorrect on a coworker's machine to change thanks to so says the great and powerful in all caps. That's so funny. So says the great and powerful. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Once at the TU station years ago, I forgot. It was a very simple prank, but like we had a coworker that used like a remote mouse, and so like while he was walked away, we took the USB out of the mouse and put it on a different computer and started taking control.
No, that's so mean.
No, we didn't. No, sorry, we didn't swap the USB plug. We swapped the physical mouse because we had two identical mouses, and so like we were
take control of their mouth. They're like, "What's going on?" That's so funny. Oh my gosh, I love it.
It was a very quick prank, and then it was over. You know, it was like all right, it lasts like 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. What the? That's funny.
It was in the morning, so it was the lower part of the day. So.
Yeah, so it wasn't like a stressful part of the day.
No.
That's funny. Here's another one. We had a prankware going on at our office for a while. Finally, one of the program managers put tiny cricket noisemakers behind two of the outlets in our assistant director's office. They drove him crazy. He even took out ceiling tiles looking for the source of the noise. The program manager ended up getting in a lot of trouble, and there's been a ceasefire in the prank war. Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh. That's the thing about wars, is that there could be collateral damage.
I remember, that reminds me of when I was in high school. There was a kid that he had bought this thing from there was a website called thinkgeek.com that I don't think it's around anymore, but it had like really weird different kinds of technologies you could buy. And it was like this little tiny little chip thing, and it was programmed to say different things at different intervals of time. And so he stuck it to the smartboard projector in the math classroom at my high school. And it would randomly just, like, out of nowhere, it would just go, psst, can you hear me? Psst, can you hear me? And then there'd be like a, ah, kind of like a girl's voice that would go. And there was, like, a couple other ones that it would say, like, just randomly. And it fully convinced for, like, because it was happening for, like, a week. It fully convinced my teacher that she thought the classroom was haunted because they were taking a test that week, and they were hearing, psst, can you hear me? And other things, and kids are like, oh my god, I heard that too. Oh my gosh, what was that? I heard that too. And so she literally canceled class early, and then finally, she was like, I need someone to, like, check my room. Like, I feel like I'm going crazy. I think my classroom might be haunted. Like, I don't know what is going on. And the janitor came in and found this little chip on the underside of the smartboard thing. It was so funny.
That's kind of like a little bit like terrorism, you know? Like you're causing fear in the class.
It was a high schooler. They didn't think it would get to that point. They thought it'd be like, oh, haha, that's so funny. And they'd find it right away and it'd be over. That one went on for a while. So it ended up being okay. It was fine, but it was, I don't know. We all thought it was kind of funny. All right. On to some Easter stories real quick here.
So away from the pranks and now to the wholesome, hopefully of Easter?
Yes. All right. So this one is from the subreddit Ask Reddit, and the question is, what's your most wholesome secret? My best friend's mom passed away from cancer 4 years ago on Easter Sunday. She was like a second mom to me. She was very religious and always dreamed of going to Jerusalem. When she passed away, my best friend became reckless and would try to drown his feelings in booze and cover up the dark with the bright lights of clubs and women. This went on for a couple of years. Eventually,
that's a story so far.
I know. Eventually, my best friend hit beyond rock bottom to where he was living in his car with only a backpack of clothes and his mom's ashes. I let him stay with me, and he turned it around. He stopped going to bars. He started caring again. He started saving money. He decided that he would spread his mom's ashes in Jerusalem. Well, he got into a car accident last month and totaled his car. Not his fault. Someone plowed through a red light. Medical bills and attorney fees drained his savings. But it's okay. He told me how there was a bank error and someone deposited $3,000 into his bank account. He's all set to be in Jerusalem around Easter, and my Hawaii trip was postponed.
Aww.
So they thought it was a bank error. Their friend that knew about this that happened canceled their trip to pay for them to go to Jerusalem.
Dang.
Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm. Sad beginning of the story, though. Jeez.
Yeah, it's a really sad
That was
start.
an emotional ride.
But
I feel bad for like starting off, all right, Easter wholesome. And then I was like, oh, that's a emotional weight.
I know.
That was a whiplash of emotions.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. That one, I just thought it was really like, wow. The last line.
Prank, it's not a bank error.
It was them.
It-
Oh, God.
Try to connect it to the
April Fools. Oh, God.
You've been pranked.
Oh, boy. Okay, on to the next one here. This one's from that same subreddit. These next two actually are. So this one says, whenever anyone is upset at school, if I know anyone is going through a hard time, I leave them a note in their mailbox or send them an anonymous note with some words of encouragement and a Cadbury cream egg. Something about those eggs has always made me feel better, and I hope that whomever they reach will also feel better when they receive one. I've been doing this for about 5 years. I am like the feel better Cadbury Easter Bunny without the clucking. I think that's cute.
Do Easter's cluck? Easter bunnies cluck?
I actually don't know.
What do bunnies?
I think the Cadbury Easter Bunny is that little chick with the Easter ears.
Oh.
In the commercials.
Okay.
That's why.
They have commercials?
Yeah.
I've never seen them.
It's always a little chick next to the egg, the Cadbury cream egg.
Okay.
That's what it is.
I understand.
All right.
I just eat them.
Yeah, I do love
I don't
Cadbury
see
cream
ads
eggs.
for
They're
them.
good. They're very good. This next one actually comes from that same thread. Sorry, this one's going back to April Fool's because I forgot about that. This one's an April Fool's one from that same thread.
We're doing some zig and zagging.
We're doing some
we
zig and
gotta
zagging.
like keep the emotions and balance in check.
Yeah, so here we go. I was once in line at the drive-thru for McDonald's. I was turning into the line of cars from a one-way, and the lady behind me didn't see me turning in, so it looked to her like I was cutting her off. She must have been about 70 and was yelling and honking at me like I'd done something terrible. Old me would have retaliated in a hilarious yet ultimately non-constructive manner. Instead, I told the drive-thru clerk that I'd like to pay for her meal and add an ice cream cone, and did not tell her where it came from. Wholesome pranks, bro. Get wrecked. I like it.
What the heck?
I think it's funny. Uno reverse. You're gonna yell and honk at me. I'm paying for your meal, and I'm adding an ice cream cone.
Like, oh, I got you.
I got you, wholesome prank. Like, I don't know. I think it's really a funny story. It made me laugh and chuckle.
What the heck? Killed him with kindness?
Kill him with kindness. Honestly, wholesome prank. Get wrecked.
It's not fair. I didn't have that opportunity when I had that one guy honk at me, like, get mad at me in a parking lot.
Yeah, I don't know. Too bad it wasn't in a drive-thru.
No,
Couldn't
it was
have bought them an ice cream.
I was a doctor visit.
Yeah. All right. So this next story here comes a news article from cbc.ca. So I got a couple here, the news articles that are about pranks. High school positive pranksters leave their mark. So a group of graduating high school students, every year there's like a senior prank that happens at a lot of high schools. This group decided for their senior prank, they went around early in the morning on that Friday, with the last day of school, and they put sticky notes on all the lockers with positive messages written on them for all the kids in the school. One of the students says, "It's been really good. We've heard lots of different stories about people that were really touched by them," the post-it notes, especially teachers as well. One of the teachers said that she hopes that this positive prank is something that other students do as their new graduating tradition. She said, "You can't imagine what it's like to walk in the morning and get that little perk. These are the kind of things that you just say, bring it on. That kind of creativity is beautiful, and that's what we want to teach." Very sweet. So kind of a sweet little one. And then the next one here.
On a side note, having worked in news for several years, April 1st is one of like the worst days of the year for
I
news
bet.
because like the amount of the care you had to take when it comes to news tips and like even some like press releases that come in. Like there's a lot of pranksters that try to put out fake news, like try to get you to report on like dumb things. And every once in a while something slips through. It's like, oh, that sounds official, and it's, oh,
Well,
that's
hard.
not official. So it's like you gotta take extra care for the local. Don't do those kinds of pranks on local news. Okay, don't do it. They got enough hardships.
Exactly. Like it's not meant to news things, but every year it goes around where in Duluth they say that there's the Great Narwhal immigration or whatever, and it's a freshwater lake, and there's like photos of like Photoshop narwhals in the harbor, and it looks pretty convincing. And every year they get posted around, and there's people that are like, whoa, I didn't realize they make it up here. There's people that actually fall for it every year. But like, yeah, so make sure you don't immediately, just because you see a photo that looks convincing or whatever, don't buy it immediately, because April Fool's pranks are getting more and more convincing.
That doesn't even apply just to April Fools. That's just in general.
But especially on April Fools. There's a lot of them on April Fools.
Yeah.
All right. Our next one here, very, very, very similar, but pretty cool. This one comes from Fox 13 Now, and it was titled, Just Hold the Bucket. Principal falls prey to one of the best senior pranks ever.
That's subjective. Go on.
So, a high school principal was asked by students to just stand in the hallway and hold a bucket, and he was like, I don't want to do that.
What?
I don't know what's going on here.
That's suspicious
I don't
as
like
heck.
this. He says, I'm not going to hold the bucket unless I have a little inkling of why it could be. But he changed his mind, and he stood in the hallway, and he held his bucket, and one by one, all the students streamed by, dropping notes of praise and thanks into the bucket. Things that says things like, thank you for making high school the best years of my life. You've made my first year experience in America one that I will always fondly remember, and so on and so forth. Apparently, the principal has been principal there since 2006, so they've been there for a while. And the principal said, became a little emotional on some of them. I kind of read them and thought, man, this is better than a paycheck. This is why I do the things that I do. So that was their senior prank. That's pretty sweet. It is kind of funny, though. Stand in the hallway and hold a bucket.
I feel like that's the only prank part.
Yeah, like,
hey,
I'm a little scared. What are you going to do to me?
You weren't exactly tricked. You were just told to do it. It's like, okay, that's weird.
But like, imagine like all the students filing in with notes that they'd written.
That's the best way to describe it. So in the previous episode about showing up or whatever, we had the story about the grandmas.
Yes.
We'll talk to the grandma. That almost sounds like a prank, where it's like, because she was bearing out like, oh, I'm having a hard time with my boyfriend or whatever. We broke up. You should talk to my grandma.
Exactly. Like, what?
That almost sounds like more of a prank than this. Yeah,
exactly. But it's just wholesome and sweet. And then our last little news article here. So this one's an Easter one. This one comes from newsbreak.com. And it's titled, Wholesome. Elderly neighbors wait at bus stop to surprise kids with Easter baskets. So these elderly neighbors stood on the corner where the school bus drops all the kids off, and they had made Easter baskets for all the kids. They had baskets with large plastic bunny-shaped containers, treats, stickers, and plastic eggs filled with candy. They wore matching outfits when they gave out the baskets to all these kids. And yeah, just super, super sweet. Someone posted that this had happened, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Like, this elderly neighbors just decided to do that for their entire neighborhood and all the kids in it. So that's really, really cool. This doesn't sound like they were like super, like they didn't know the kids really. It doesn't sound like, based on the article, they just decided to do that to make all the little kids' day. And I think that's really, really sweet. So I used to have a neighbor that would do stuff like that for us and stuff like that, like around Halloween and stuff. He'd always make little Halloween baskets for us that he'd drop off and stuff, and it was always like, as a kid, it was so exciting and like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever. So little things like that can really make kids' day, so I just think that's really cool. So anyways, with that, we will end today's podcast episode. I hope y'all have a great April Fool's Day, and prank responsibly if you are going to.
And a good Easter.
And if you celebrate Easter, I hope you have a wonderful Easter. And our next episode is all about being authentically yourself. So that'll be very interesting. I think we got some interesting stories that I'm excited to share.
Be the real you.
Being the real you. If you have any positive stories that you'd like to share, please send them to us at upliftingpositivestories@gmail.com, and we'd love to put them on here.
And if you're watching YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button or leave a comment.
That'd be awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your week.
And stay positive.